Shalom, shalom. Giving all praises to the Most High and His Son, Yahushua. Today's class, how the Israelites got into Egypt. So, a lot of time we always say we walked into Egypt. So we're going to find out how we got there. And on the Sabbath, which is the Passover, we're going to show you how the Most High had to come there and destroy them. So, let's go to the book of Genesis 15 and 13. The book of Genesis 15 and 13. Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 13. And he said unto Abram, Know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
And I know a lot of Israelites that's not in school, because I thought this was talking about America, but it is talking about Egypt. This is going into Egypt. Not the 400 years, like I explained to y'all. We already over the 400 years crest. When you take the 360 days, and you take that 5 days, we had probably 408, 409. So we already exceeded 400 years here. Read on.
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
See, it's not talking about America, but it's the same captivity. But this is talking about Egypt. Let's go into Exodus 12 and 40. Give you the precept on that. Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
430 years that they was there in captivity. So, I know a lot of people try to say it's talking about Babylon. We already over there, folks. We're praying that the Most High get here at any day now. Go back to Genesis 15, 14.
The book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge.
See, and that's what we're going into on the 7th, which is the Passover, and show you how the Most High judged Egypt for what they did to us. Read on.
And afterward shall they come out with great substance.
Afterwards, we came out with great substance because we had King David. I really don't want to call King Saul because he was a wicked king, and King Solomon. So we live good for their rulership. Other than that, we've been in bondage, man. We're still here in captivity. Let's go to Genesis 37 and 2. A lot of this history, I'm going to be skipping over it, but I want to bring some of it to you.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
Read on.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him.
So, this naturally runs in our blood. And Joseph hadn't did nothing to the brothers. It was just his dad loved Joseph's work. Read on.
And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For, behold, we were binding sheaves in the field.
They was out there grinding. Read on.
And lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
Because Joseph could interpret dreams. He could interpret your dream. Sometimes your dreams mean something, but you should not be out trying to tell someone. No one can interpret them. We don't have that power here today. So they followed somebody that had a dream when it MLK. You see what happened to that dream for following him, don't you? Read on.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
That means to bow down, submit, or to worship. That's what that is going into. Now let's go into Revelation 12 and 1. See, it say 11 stars. Joseph did not count himself. He counted the brothers. So let's go into Revelation 12 and 1. Let's go in here and let's see if it's not giving the same analogy that this is talking about the Israelites.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
That's representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's go back. Let's see what Joseph was saying. See, this is what they don't do in Christianity. They never precept their Bible. This is how you get the understanding. Read out.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
See, shall submit or worship him. Joseph had a dream. It was a future prophecy that was going to happen. Read on.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him.
His father like, what the hell you talking about, man? You know how father is. Because he couldn't see himself worshiping his own son. Read on.
And said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same.
See, his father perceived, he was trying to understand what was he saying, because his father understood that our people could interpret certain dreams. Read on.
And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph.
See, in Shechem, it was a city in Israel. Read on.
Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here I am, here am I. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem.
This is Joseph. Read on.
And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field.
Joseph looking for his brothers.
And the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou?
What are you looking for? Read.
And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, they are departed hence.
They left here. Read on.
For I heard them say, let us go to Dathan.
Dothan. This is called the two wells. Read.
And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him.
They wanted to kill him. You see how this works? This is why the Bible is very specific about hatred towards your brother. That's a sin. That's murder. Read on.
And they said one to another, behold.
Hold up. Ain't there some camps like that? They have that same hatred, man. They can't shake it. That's the problem with our peoples. We out here battling the devil, and they out here trying to bang with us. I just show you the kind of mind state some peoples are in. Read on.
And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh.
And this dreamer cometh. Read on.
Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit.
That's a way of read.
And we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit.
That's the well. That's where they was dwelling at. Where they were trying to feed their basically get their sheep's water. Read.
That is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat.
Man, they was player hating. Read on.
His coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him, and cast him into a pit.
Into a well.
And the pit was empty.
See, that's why I'm saying it was empty. Read on.
There was no water in it.
Read.
And they sat down to eat bread. And they lifted up their eyes and looked. And behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh.
So, I wonder if these were the kind of Ishmaelites that you see in your corner store today. No, they were very dark-skinned men. Them were some imposters. Read on.
Going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother?
Hey, man, you see, Judah just got a good spirit, man. Him and Reuben. Read.
And conceal his blood. Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites.
Still was wicked, though. Read on.
And let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother, and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, marchmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go?
Joseph was not there. So Reuben had went to go and see where Joseph was. So the brothers had sold him. But why? It was ordained from the Most High. Because Joseph had to fulfill this prophecy, which the dream he had dreamed. And we're gonna get into that. Read on.
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats.
Hold up. Who's still calling their children's kids? So you see why I be trying to tell you. What did they kill?
And killed a kid of the goats.
Read on.
And dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put on sackcloth upon his loins. and mourned for his son many days.
Because this was Israel's favorite son. Read on.
And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted.
He didn't want to have no dealings with him at that time. Read on.
And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
See, Egypt was not great at this time. Read on.
And it came to pass at that time.
Let's go to verse 39 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39 and verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man.
He was a favorable man. Read.
And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him.
He saw that the Most High was with Joseph. Read.
And that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hands.
So when you're going through certain things, that's why I always telling the soldiers and the officers, you got to stay positive. Joseph, what he did, he stayed positive. Read on.
And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had, he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph.
She had a wondering eye. Read on.
And said, lie with me.
She wanted Joseph to have sex with her. Read on.
But he refused.
See, that's been an Israelite man there. I mean, no matter what he was going through, he understood keep the commandments. A lot of us, we don't think like that. Read on.
And said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotted not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he had to my hand.
So her husband had entrusted Joseph. Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. That she called unto the men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us.
See, that's how the other nations really feel about us, man. Because she could, just like certain people go to work, that certain things happen to them. If they can't get what they want out of you, then they'll go and deceive someone else to either get you fired, or you're in that world, you're dealing with worldly women, so you're dealing with worldly men. It's all deceptions out there. Read on.
He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried.
These old clubfoot Africans, man, he probably didn't even want to deal with that Mubamba looking. I guess y'all haven't seen some of these African women's. Read on.
That he left his garment with me, and fled, and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her, until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me.
See, to come in there to try to have sex with her. You probably wouldn't even have an eye on her, man. You probably can see her I wish we had some pictures up there. We would show her. Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled.
So, you see how the woman can deceive? That's why it's not even good to be dealing with the other nation. Because these other nations let their women rule over them. Really, except the Arabs. I know the so-called white man does. Maybe the Chinese. I don't know too much about their relationship, but I know that's the kind of spirit they push on our women. You know, read on.
And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph.
See, the Most High, because Joseph stayed in order. He hadn't did anything. The Most High still was with him. Y'all have to understand that when you're going through affliction, y'all have to keep the faith, man. No matter how much Esau try to put you through, stay positive thinking. Understand that there's an end to this captivity. Read on.
And shewed him mercy.
Go ahead.
And
Like what Nick was breaking out, this is how we also know that he Israel. What races of people get locked up for doing nothing more than the so-called Negroes, Mexicans, and Native Americans? This is how we know he Israel.
That's right. Read on.
and shewed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
Read that, start with, where you at, verse 21?
Yeah.
Verse 22?
I'm at the beginning of verse 22, end of verse 21.
Read verse 21 again.
Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph.
All you got to do is keep these commandments, man, no matter what you're going through. Ain't this like Daniel in the lion's den? All you got to do is stay with the power, man. Read on.
And shewed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
So, the prison guard, they, showing Joseph favor. Because the Most High is with him. Let me tell you something. You walking upright, these Edomites see you, man. Not our people, because they into all kind of wickedness. But these other, I was just at Whole Food today, boy. You should have seen them Edomites looking at me with that Feast of Tabernacle, with that menorah on. I was over there where the Jewish peoples was. I'm talking about some ugly looks I got today. And I was just like, all of them gonna be out in the cotton field soon. Read on.
And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand.
Didn't worry about Joseph, because Joseph, he understood. This man, you didn't have to, if you see some of the prison stuff that's going on in them prisons now, they all into all kind of abomination. But Joseph, he was a righteous man. Read on.
Because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
Anything that he would touch, man, he made it to prosper. Jump down to verse 40.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt.
They had offended the Pharaoh, man. I don't know, maybe the butler, didn't press his pants right or whatever. Aired his out or something. Read on, man.
And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers.
He was angry with them, man. Read.
Against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them inward in the house of the captain of the
He
guard,
put them in prison. Read on.
into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season inward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night. Each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon sad.
They were sad because they had their dream. They couldn't, because they would go to their sorcerers. You know, because Egypt was into all kind of witchcraft. It's the same thing America follow. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump going there to his magicians, his sorcerers, and
Wise man.
yeah, they probably been there doing all kind of abominable things, man. Y'all got to understand there's nothing new under the sun. Probably been there with one of them hats with one of them big diamonds in the front, with a glass ball. Yeah, I can see the future. Donald Trump, you are going into captivity. What? Kill him. Read on, man.
And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his Lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God?
Belongs to our God. Read.
Tell me them, I pray you.
See, he's doing the same thing Daniel did. See, this is what I'm trying to show you. If you in the righteous spirit, that's what I tell brothers, sisters, you can't play with this truth, man. You can't be hot or cold. You got to be on a straight path. No matter what your affliction is, you always got to trust in the power. Because if you're not trusting in the power, who are you trusting in? You're trusting in the flesh. Read on.
And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner when thou was his butler.
See, now, I know some people like to get their dreams interpreted. Now this other, wasn't the baker, didn't he have a dream too? The chief baker had a dream too. See, a lot of y'all be having dreams, but sometimes you better keep it to yourself, because it might not be the outcome that this Egyptian got. Read on.
But think on me when it shall be well with thee.
So Joseph said, think on me when it shall be well with thee. Read.
And shew kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house.
Bring me out of this prison house. But you know how y'all do with some of these other nations. You can do something for them, they can run in there and tell boss, he'll never know you was the one that created the idea. They'll never mention your name. Right. Read on.
For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon.
Read on.
When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good,
he saw that it was good. You know how it is. Man, I'm finna tell him mine. Read on.
He said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days.
Hold up there. What?
The 3 baskets are 3 days.
Read out.
Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee.
Hold up, he gonna do what?
And shall hang thee on a tree.
So some of y'all dreams, y'all some of y'all don't want to get the answer. Wasn't that in that movie Life, when that dude asked Eddie Murphy to read him that letter? Your mama died. Your cousin died. The dog died. They say, anybody want me to read that letter? Like, man. Read on, huh?
And the bird shall eat thy flesh from off thee. And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday.
See, this is where this custom come from. Everything come from Babylon. These birthday celebrations that people want to do, these are pagan to us. Read.
That he made a feast unto all his servants.
He had a party. Read.
And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker.
See, read on.
As Joseph had interpreted to them.
See, Joseph was able to interpret those dreams. Read on.
Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him.
That's the same thing happened on your job. Such and such did a great job. Who did that? Your trucks, everything was done. I did it. Then he come out there and be friend with you. You think he cool or something. Boss don't gave him a $10 raise. You still like this starving. Oh man, Reese, let's go to Genesis 41:1. This is a little analogy of Joseph, because a lot of times we don't know him. Now we get the spirit of knowing who one of our forefathers was. Read on.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41 and verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years.
Hold up, the butler ain't said nothing after 2 full years. Read on.
That Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow.
And that's in the fields. Read.
And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke, and he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
See, no one can interpret this dream, but Joseph gonna interpret it for him. Read on.
And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh.
See, there was none that could interpret. See, the magicians. This is the same thing America's practicing. Read on.
Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me inward in the captain of the guard's house.
Threw him in a prison.
Both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night. I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew.
Hey, what?
An Hebrew.
Read on.
Servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged.
The baker. Read on.
Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself, and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh.
So he changed his raiment. What do you think he did? He shaved himself. I mean, he cut off his beard, shaved his head. He looked just like an Egyptian. That's what you see Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley and them doing. They're all following those customs. You see these guys on TV, they ain't got no hair on their face. Then sometimes, like I was in Tom Thumb today, black man in front of me, he didn't even speak to me. He looked at me with this beard on, man, and I guess it flexed his spirit. So this beard, it sets us apart, but these fringes really do. Where we at?
15.
Read on.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee, that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace.
See, Most High is using him. Some of us, we still ain't got that to see that how the Most High is moving spirits. We still got a carnal spirit on us. We still caught up in the flesh a little bit. Some of us don't like to hearken. When we speak to y'all, it's like somebody that you work with. We don't appreciate what the Most High do for us. Jump down to verse 25.
Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one.
That's been interpreted for. Read.
God has shewed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kind are 7 years.
See, he's showing them it was 7 years. Read.
And the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one.
It's one. Read.
And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine.
7 years of famine. Read.
This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he sheweth unto Pharaoh.
See, he showed it unto Pharaoh. How? In a dream. Read.
Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt.
Read on.
And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt. And the famine shall consume the land.
Because as long as their garden was producing, they was just going to consume it. So Most High was moving Joseph to handle some business in Egypt. What did we read when we first started here in Genesis 15 and 13? Abraham's seed was going into captivity for 400 years in a land that was not theirs. So he was fulfilling the prophecies. Read on. Where we at?
31.
Read.
And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous.
Read on.
And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass.
He will surely bring it to pass. Let's deal with the dream. Job 33 and 14. A lot of times, you know, you might wake up, something on your mind, write it down, man. You know, until you're able to start understand you're being led to do a job. And some of us, we don't take heed to what the Most High want us to do. We want to still do what we want to do because some of us are still trapped in Esau kingdom. You be good until you go into the Walmarts and everybody in there naked and people smelling like weed and, you know, you're like, man, this place is destroyed. And some weak spirit, they get pulled back. Read.
The book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14. For God speaketh once, yea, twice.
See, he speaketh once, yea, twice. Read.
Yet man perceiveth it not.
They don't perceive it not. Read.
In a dream.
In a what?
In a dream.
In a dream. Read.
In a vision of the night. When deep sleep falleth upon man.
You know, some of y'all probably, you know, snoring, slobbing, whatever you do. Some kicking, pulling the cover off your mate. You know how it is. Deep slumber, man. You don't know what's going on. Read.
In slumberings upon the bed.
Read on.
Then he openeth the ears of men.
Then he opened your mind. Read.
And sealeth their instruction.
So that man that you seen go out and kill somebody, wasn't the so-called white man did it. It was our power that does these things. That's why he say, do not fear them. He's in control of everything. They just think they are. Read on.
That he may withdraw man from his purpose.
Read.
And hide pride from man.
See, everything is sealed. Everything we doing, we getting sealed instructions to go out here and do the work. Some of us don't want to do it. Pride. He can't use that spirit. Where we at? Genesis 41:38. Jump down to 38. Yeah.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 38. And Pharaoh said unto his servants,
He said unto his other wise men, read,
can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the Spirit of God is?
See, because Esau understand this. Some of y'all done been on some of these jobs, and he'll move you up to a supervisor because he know that he can profit off your knowledge and your work ethic or what you're able to bring to the table for him. Read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God hath shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt.
Put Joseph in power. That's why you see a lot of our peoples on certain, you see them in mayors, you'll see them as the sheriff, you'll see them as the chief of police. They understand we run things better than they do. So-called white man, he run things right into the ground. You see America. You see, and especially the Spaniards. When I did research on them some really retards. They were look at Mexico. Look at Christopher Columbus. Couldn't sail on seas, man. He was lost. Who did he have with him? Some of our peoples. Where we at?
45.
Read on.
And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah.
So he doing the same thing that happened to Daniel. Didn't King, what's his name?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar. Didn't he change Daniel their name?
And that name means man whom mysteries are revealed.
Read on.
And he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
So some of these brothers that be acting like they can't get right, like the movie Life. Joseph was how old?
30 years old.
So some of you brothers just excuse makers. Read.
When he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt.
He went through all the land of Egypt. Jump down to verse 50.
Verse 50. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came. And Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh.
Manasseh. Read.
For God said he hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim. For God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction.
So these 2 names y'all see on the 12 tribe chart, right? Y'all don't see Joseph's name on there. And you don't see Dan's name on there. These two sons took their place. Manasseh took Dan and Ephraim took Joseph. So as we going, you would start getting all this. It takes a while. It is not no overnight thing. Genesis 42:1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 42 and verse 1. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do ye look one upon another?
They was over there probably hungry, man. It was famine. That's what's going to be going on here soon. Read.
And he said, both, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him.
See, anything can happen when you're traveling that land, when famine, anything could happen. So Jacob, which is Israel, understood these things. So jump down to verse 7. We're going to start skipping through it. Y'all can go back and read this.
Verse 7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them.
See, when they came into Egypt, Joseph saw his brothers, and he knew them. Why you think they didn't know him? Right. He was looking like one of them Egyptians. Read on.
But made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them.
Speak roughly unto them. Read.
And he said unto them, whence come ye? And they said, from the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him.
Read on.
And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, ye are spies. To see the nakedness of the land ye are come.
So Joseph remembered that dream. What dream was he remembering? The dream he had told them about him being lords over them. See, jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither.
You know why he wanted the younger brother? Because they had the same mother. Read on.
Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh surely ye are spies. And he put them all together into 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, this do, and live.
So he had put him in prison 3 days. He was just toiling with him. Read.
For I fear God.
So, and now he said what?
For I fear God.
Read on.
If ye be true men.
If ye be true men of God. Read.
Let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye, carry corn for the famine of your houses.
See, jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. And Reuben answered them, saying, spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child, and ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required.
Read on.
And they knew not that Joseph understood them.
They didn't understood Joseph knew how to speak Hebrew. See, Joseph was toiling with them. Read on. It'll explain it till you read.
For he spake unto them by an interpreter.
See, he had an interpreter there with him. Read on.
And he turned himself about from them.
And he did what?
And he turned himself about from them.
Read on.
And wept.
See, he started crying, man. It's like sometimes when you see your brothers, man, he ain't seen them in a while. That's how it's going to be like when all these tribes come back together. Read on.
And returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes.
And and put him, bound him before their eyes. Jump down to verse 26.
Verse 26. And they laden their asses with the corn, and departed thence.
So they left Simeon back. Read on.
And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender,
Give his ass some hay. Read.
in the end, he espied his money.
He noticed that it was money in his bag. Read.
For, behold, it was in his sack's mouth.
It was in the open of his sack mouth. He seen the money when he opened it up. Where we at?
28.
Read on.
And he said unto his brethren, my money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them.
Because they was trying to figure out what's going on. But see, Joseph put their money back in there, man. That's how you treat your family. We don't get over on family.
That's right.
That's
Read
right.
on.
And they were afraid, saying one to another, what is this that God hath done unto us? And they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying,
Jump down to verse 32.
verse 32, we be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not,
One is dead.
and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan.
They talking about Benjamin. Read on.
And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here
And that man was Joseph. Read on.
with me, and take food for the famine of your household, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you your brother, and ye shall traffic in the
You
land.
shall pass through the land. Read on.
And it came to pass, as they emptied their sack, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack.
Joseph put all their money back in their sack, man. Read on.
And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid.
They was afraid, man. Read.
And Jacob, their father, said unto them, me have ye bereaved of my children.
And you deprived of my children. Because he was pissed off about them leaving one of their brothers back. Read on.
Joseph is not,
Joseph is dead.
and Simeon is not.
So is Simeon. Read.
And he will take Benjamin
And
away.
you going to take my youngest son away? Read.
All these things are against me.
All these things are against me. Let's go to Genesis 43 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 43 and verse 1. And the famine was sore in the land. And it came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again, buy us a little food.
Go again and bring more food back. Read.
And Judah spake unto him, saying, the man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you.
So they understood. Don't come back unless you bring your brother. Read.
If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you.
Read on.
And Israel said, wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother?
Why you out there telling that man your business? Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother.
That he may send away your other brother. Read.
And Benjamin,
Read on.
if I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved.
Read on.
And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up, and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph.
So they took the money they had before and more money to go back. They were going to give them the money that they was supposed to have been left, but they didn't understand. Joseph put it back in their sack. Read on.
And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home and slay,
Hold up. He said, kill. Read.
and make ready for these men shall dine with me at noon.
So he was poking with him, man, joking with him. These brothers, you have to understand, man, you're going into a strange country. And Egypt Joseph had to start bringing it to where it is, what you see over there now. He started bringing them into prominent power. And they probably had guards and all this stuff over there. Because everybody had to go to Egypt at this time. They was the only one that had food. Where we at?
Verse 17.
Read on.
And the man did as Joseph bade.
As he commanded, read.
And the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, because of the money that was returned in our sack, at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us, and fall upon us, and take us for bondage, and our asses.
And our asses. Read on.
And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house.
Jump down to verse 27.
Verse 27. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, is your father well?
Now Joseph asking him, is their father well? Because he wanted to know about his dad. Read.
The old man of whom ye spake, is he yet alive?
Is he yet alive? Read.
And they answered, thy servant our father is in good health.
Israel was in good health. Read.
He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance.
They had respect. So what was playing out? Joseph's dream. Read on.
And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother?
Is this your what?
Younger brother.
Is this your younger brother, man? Read.
Of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother.
So his feelings, Joseph started to get into his feelings. He's seeing his younger brother now. Read.
And he sought where to weep, and he entered into his chamber and wept there.
And wept there. Read on.
And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself.
So he had to straighten his composure back up. Read on.
And said, set on bread.
So he's saying set on bread. Now they're getting ready to eat. Let's go to Genesis 45 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 45 and verse 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him.
He couldn't refrain himself, man. He about to let loose. Read on.
And he cried.
And he what?
And he cried.
Read on.
Caused every man to go out from me.
He caused all the Egyptians to go out. Read on.
And there stood no man with him.
Read.
While Joseph made himself known unto his brothers.
He made himself known unto his brothers. Read.
And he wept aloud. And the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph.
He said what?
I am Joseph.
He was letting them know, I am Joseph. Read.
Doth my father yet live?
He's now asking about his daddy. Read.
And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled in his presence.
They was troubled because they didn't know what to think. Read.
And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near, and he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt.
Read on.
Now therefore be not grieved.
Don't be grieved, man. Read.
Nor angry with yourselves.
Don't be angry with yourself. Read.
That ye sold me hither.
He sold them hither. Read on.
For God did send me before you to preserve life.
See, that's what all this was about. Read on.
For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years, in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest.
Nothing ain't gonna grow. Read on.
And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity,
Offsprings
in the earth.
Read on.
And to serve and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither.
So it was not you. See, because everything you do is we're playing out our part. Read.
But God.
But who?
But God.
Most High Son in there. Read.
And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and Lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt.
Read on.
Haste ye, and go up to my father,
Haste ye, quickly, go get my father. Read.
and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me Lord of all Egypt.
Read on.
Come down unto me, tarry not.
Don't hesitate. Come down unto me. Read on.
And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen.
This is eastern delta of the Nile. So they was going to do well there. Read.
And thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herd.
And thy what?
And thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast.
Bring all that thou hast and come with me. Genesis 46 and 31.
The book of Genesis, chapter 46, verse 31. And Joseph said unto his brethren, and unto his father's house, I will go up and shew Pharaoh, and say unto him, My brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan,
Israel.
are come unto me.
Read on.
And the men are shepherds, for their trade hath been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, What is your occupation?
What is your occupation? Because what was Jacob? He was a plain man, one. Y'all have to understand, we're going back to that. This is madness what we in right here. Read on.
That ye shall say, Thy servants' trade hath been about cattle from our youth even unto now.
Read on.
Both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
So the Egyptians looked at us as an abomination because we wasn't practicing those wicked customs.
And it also goes into the history of the Hyksos. When they came and was battling with Egypt, that's what the word Hyksos means, shepherd kings. So Joseph knew that from the past history to tell them that so he can get them into the land of Goshen.
That's right. So everything is Bible prophecy. What we're going through right now is Bible prophecy. So all we got to do is keep the commandments. Do as our Lord say. All we're trying to do is seal the 144 to get out of this captivity. Now Israel all had moved there and was living in the land of Egypt. But something happened. Let's get that in Exodus 1. Now we do well in there now. But let's find out what happened, man. This is how we got into the land of Egypt. Read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob.
See, we came with our forefather. We got our father. Read.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
See, Joseph was in Egypt already. Read on.
And Joseph died.
See, and Joseph died. Read.
And all his brethren and all that generation.
All that generation. Read.
And the children of Israel were fruitful.
That was fruitful, man. Read.
And increased abundantly.
They increased abundantly. Read.
And multiplied. And waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them.
And the what?
And the land was filled with them.
Read on.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt.
There rose up a new Pharaoh over Egypt. Read.
Which knew not Joseph.
He did not know Joseph and what Joseph had did for Egypt. Read.
And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
They know we are mighty than them, man. Y'all see some of them Africans. Some of them look like toothpicks. Read on.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
Come on and let us deal wisely with them. Read.
Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
Read on.
Therefore they did set over them taskmasters.
Hold up, they set over them what?
Taskmasters.
When you go to your job, who's there?
Taskmasters.
When you get pulled over by the police,
Taskmasters.
you go in there to see that judge.
Taskmasters.
They all playing a part in it, man. The same thing here. Read.
To afflict them with their burdens.
To afflict them, man. We're being afflicted here, and peoples are happy to be into ghettos and to be taking these penny-ante jobs. They're happy, man, because they got us thinking as individuals, not as a nation. Because Pharaoh knew this. He understood what would happen if someone would come. We could rise up and overtake them. Read on.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities,
Pyramids, read.
Pithom and Ramses.
The Valley of the Kings, read on.
But the more they afflicted them,
The more they was killing them and whatever they was doing to them, read.
the more they multiplied and grew.
That's that song. We don't die, we multiply.
That's right.
Read on.
And they were grieved because the children of Israel.
They was grieved because you think Esau ain't going through this? He like, man, I'm doing everything. I'm pausing their water, their toothpaste, their food. I got lead paint in their houses. And they still keep coming back. What can I do? We killing them with the gun. We sending them over there in the army to be killed.
Filling them up in the jails.
Filling them up in their penitentiaries and jail. We don't die, we multiply.
That's right.
Read on.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
Rigor, man.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
That's what that rigor is, man. That's the same thing going on here. Read.
In mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the fields.
Slavery. Read on.
All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
So the things that we going on these jobs, these are very rigor, hard bondage to us. This is captivity at its highest level. Read.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives.
I don't want to go in there. Let's go in. I want to keep that. Let's go to Acts 76. Let's see if the prophets did not speak about this. See, because for some reason they think this New Testament is all about Christianity. God loves everybody. Every man can be saved. It's a lie. Read up.
The book of Acts, chapter 7 and verse 6. And God spake on this wise.
He spoke on this wise. Read.
That his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage.
Hard bondage. Read.
And entreat them evil 400 years.
How you think we've been treated here, man? Have we got a fair shake? Name me one year. Was it 1988? 1976, wasn't it? Was it 1776? We ain't never been treated fairly here. Read on.
And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge.
See, he judged them. That's what we're going to be going in on this on Saturday about the Passover. How he judged them for us. How he's going to judge America. Which he's doing the same thing. It's already taking place. Read.
Said God.
Says who?
Said God.
Read on.
And after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place.
And our homeland Israel. Jump down to verse 18.
Verse 18. Till another king arose which knew not Joseph.
Read on.
The same dealt.
They're going into another king. That's going into the new dynasty.
Right.
That's Tutankhamun. A lot of our people want to be Egyptologists. King Tut used to beat the hell out of our people, man. Queen Nefertiti and them. That's all that lineage from the 17th dynasty on up into the 18th dynasty.
And you got some folks got all that garbage in their house. I be seeing them on video. What he be saying?
Hotel, my brother.
Something else. Oh yeah, yeah. But he be fooling with his phone. I ain't gonna say his name.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at see how many clicks he got on this end. Yeah, we about to go in. You ain't doing nothing. Come out there in that corner and get destroyed, man.
That's right.
Jump down to verse 18. Read on.
The same dealt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end they might not live.
So that was doing abortion back then. All the things that they're doing here, why is that they're speaking about this here in Acts? Why? What part of this got to do with Christianity? Nothing. Read on.
In which time Moses was born, and was exceeding fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months.
Only 3 months, read.
And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up, and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
What do we learn here? We learn in all the wisdom of Babylon, America. Read.
And was mighty in words and in deeds.
Some of them, I got a degree. I got 2 degrees. I got 5. Just an educated dummy. Read.
And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel.
So Moses knew he was an Israelite. He knew he was a Hebrew, man. All the movies they put out, man, is to brainwash you. Read on.
And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him.
Hold up. He seen what?
And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him.
He stood up for his brother, man, like we are trying to get brothers in here to stand up, man.
That's right.
Read.
And avenged him that was oppressed, and smote the Egyptian.
He killed the Egyptian. And we're going to learn all about this Passover on the 7th, man. We're going to learn who this Moses was. We're learning who our forefathers are. That should put that spirit back on you. To shake off that weak nature, man. Knowing Esau can't do nothing to you. You just have to understand some of us dig holes for ourselves. And then we cry when we dig them for ourselves. Dig yourself out yourself. If you go and dig a hole for yourself, if you don't want to follow the order or follow what's in this Bible. And on that note, Israel, shalom.
Shalom.